What's up, nerds, and welcome to the Nerd History Podcast, the newest addition to the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. The Nerd History Podcast exists to do what all nerds love the most, dive deep into the nostalgia of nerd culture that made us who we are. Each episode, we'll spotlight one particular nerd history event from that week and take a deep dive into the fandom, the lore, the nerdy facts. I'm Radio Matt. I'm the Director of Content and Resources for Love Thy Nerd and Station Manager for LTN Radio. And with me today and forevermore is my amazing bride, Daedra.
Hi, I'm Daedra. I'm tired and cranky, but I'm here.
We are the Nerd Historians, and today on the show, we are taking a look at the history of Wario Land, which celebrates its 30th anniversary this week.
Wow. 30
years. Let's take a quick look at Wario and give our initial thoughts.
In 1994, Wario took the lead in Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land for the Game Boy. Wario is hard
You're
to
going to need
say.
to get a grasp on it because we're going to be saying a lot this show.
Wario Land is a platform game for the Game Boy that features Wario as a main character who travels to a pirate island to steal a golden statue of Princess Peach.
What do you think about Wario as a character?
It's a bit rough around the edges. He's kind of... He's supposed to be... He's like... not really good, but not really bad, right?
I would characterize him as that. Yeah, he's not necessarily evil. He's more just like self-centered to the point where he doesn't care if it affects other people negatively.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
He takes what he can get.
I also have a negative stigma of Wario because of you.
What is that?
Because you would consistently play as Wario in
Mario Kart?
And be mean to me.
Beat everybody.
And so, yeah.
It wasn't just you I was mean to. It was your whole family.
This is
I
true.
smoked every Sunday for years. Every episode, for those of you who watch the video episodes, we have a featured pop on the table. And sometimes it's very obvious why I feature that pop. Because it's like a character from that show or whatever. But sometimes I have to get creative because I only have a few lines of pops. Despite the giant wall behind me, most of them only are in like 4 different lines. So
They're all Green Lantern.
can you tell there's a lot of Green Lantern. Can you tell me why I chose this pop today?
Because he's also kind of good and kind of bad?
Nope.
Because he's yellow?
Because the yellow bad doppelganger of a hero. He is not kind of good. He is all bad.
Okay. Well,
Reverse Flash.
all right.
Pretty much the worst you can get, really. Pretty terrible dude all around.
I'm sorry I called him kind of good.
You should be.
Or guessed that's...
So I'm pretty sure you don't know this.
Okay.
So I'd like to ask you what you think the background story of Wario is.
I have no idea.
Who is Wario and why is he Mario's enemy?
Forgotten stepchild.
Do you think they're related? Or no?
Like, I did until you asked me it like that. And then now I'm like, maybe not. Like, I did think they were related.
Yeah. How so?
I don't know, like a weird uncle.
That's a good guess. Well, we are going to take a deeper dive into the history and lore of Wario in a bit. But now, it's time for a game.
Ooh. Don't bring it up yet. I have to read my...
Hold on. Now that you said something, I'm going to put it up. Okay, go ahead.
Each week, we go head-to-head in a game to put our nerdy nostalgia knowledge to the test. We ask each other 5 questions, all multiple choice. If we get a wrong answer, we have to guess again, with each wrong answer earning us an X. And the fewest X's at the end of the round wins.
Today, in honor of our gas-passing protagonist, we're guzzling some carbonated cola trivia. Soda trivia battle.
Oh, wow.
Are you ready?
I don't feel like I know very much about soda. Other than Dr. Pepper used to be warm.
Rock, paper, scissors. See who goes first.
Oh, okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. I win. All right, I go first.
Okay.
Deidre, ask me my 5 questions.
You ready?
Yeah.
What is the oldest soft drink in America? Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, IBC root beer.
I mean, you would assume Coca-Cola,
Right.
but I mean, like all of these were made back a long time ago.
Right. Was
And
it
does
the
it
first,
just because it's the most popular doesn't mean that it was the first? Oreo taught us that. Rip Hydrox. I'm gonna say Coca-Cola though. That's where I'm gonna lean. Coca-Cola. Oh, not Coca-Cola.
No. Starting off with an X.
Okay. IBC root beer. Oh,
That was my guess. The
Is
root
it
beer.
Dr. Pepper? Wow.
Wow.
First sold in 1885 at Morrison's Old Corner Drugstore in Waco, Texas. Dr. Pepper is the oldest soft drink in America. It was soon followed by Coca-Cola the next year, Pepsi Cola in 1898, IBC Root Beer in 1919, 7-Up in 1929, Sprite in 1961. We're going to go through all of them. Why couldn't we just have the 4 that were on the list?
Right?
And countless other soft drinks. Kind of
Wow.
long since disappeared from the shelves. In 1929, there were more than 600 lemon lime soft drinks alone on the market.
Holy
It
cow.
must be all the different regions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
That's weird to think about that.
Before someone monopolized.
Dang, I
All
only
right.
have 2X.
2 X's. This is looking good for me. What soft drink has trademarked the slogan, Obey Your Thirst? Coca-Cola, 7-Up, Sprite, Mountain Dew. Obey your thirst.
Obey your thirst.
Thirst. Say it like,
That sounds-
like the commercial would say it.
That sounds like a very Mountain Dew thing. Mm-hmm. But I've been a big fan of Mountain Dew for a long time, and I don't remember.
You don't remember
Obey
that
Your
phrase.
It kind of sounds like the thing 7-Up would do. 7-Up had that long stretch where they were doing very provocative kind of slogans. Like, do you remember the T-shirts that said "Make 7" on the front, and then on the back?
Oh, I do remember that. Yep.
And then followed by the word "yours." I didn't want to say them together. Shoot. It also sounds like a Sprite thing. Sprite is typically advertised to the black community, and that seems like a very like I could see it being like a basketball commercial or whatever. They're playing around drinking Sprite. Obey your thirst. I can see it. It's not Coca-Cola.
Right.
Gosh,
It's not a Coca-Cola thing.
I'm gonna say 7-Up. Dang it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Sprite. Okay.
Ugh,
Sprite is marketed with the slogan "Obey Your Thirst." Sprite was first introduced to Coca-Cola in 1961. Didn't tell us about the campaign, but I think
Stupid.
I'm right. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a commercial I've seen, and it's just in my head, slightly in there. 3 X's.
3 X's already. Man. What soft drink was developed as an alternative to alcoholic beverages during Prohibition? Sprite, ICB root beer, Tab, Coca-Cola.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh no! I don't think it is root beer.
No.
I think it's Tab. I was about to say it's definitely root beer, but no, it is Tab. It's not Tab.
Oh, man.
root beer.
It was root beer. Man.
I'm so upset by
4
that.
X's?
I'm so upset that
You just knew it
tricked
was
me.
root beer.
That tricked me.
Yeah.
Tab tricked me.
I would have gone for Tab too, though.
Obviously, root beer was developed in 1919. I don't remember when the Prohibition was. I don't know when Tab was created. I I do remember
These
when
facts
I
aren't
first
very helpful to the question.
when I first saw Tab was in my friends. They're very Christian, like uber Christian, like Shiite Christians. Growing up, and I opened their fridge to get a soda, and I saw a bunch of Tab in there, and I'm like, I'd like to try one of those, and they're like, no, you wouldn't. I'm like, okay. So I did. But apparently Tab was mainly used to mix with drinks.
Oh, okay.
And that's what they use it for. Our very uber Christian family.
Christian family used Tab.
Use Tab to mix drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm upset. Okay, let's go. 2 more questions.
What soft drink was originally named Bib Label lithiated
Yeah.
lemon lime soda? Bib Label lithiated lemon lime soda. Sprite, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, Squirt.
Ugh. 7-Up, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's right.
CL Greg first introduced 7-Up to the world in 1929. He called it Bib Label Lithiated Lemon Lime Soda. Although there were already more than 600 lemon lime soft drinks on the market, Greg's new brand sold well enough to keep him afloat, even though the stock market crash, which occurred just 2 weeks after he introduced the drink, and thankfully he soon changed the name to the much easier to pronounce 7-Up. All right. Last one.
What soft drink was originally invented for use as a mixer with whiskey? Mr. Pibb, Coca-Cola, Sprite, Mountain Dew.
With whiskey?
Tab's not in there, man. I thought that was the one that was used.
Whiskey.
Like Mr. Pibb was only invented to go with
Rip off Dr. Pepper, right?
That's what I think. Especially since now we know Dr. Pepper was the first one.
Coca-Cola wasn't created for that. It was not invented just to be a mixer, right? Was it? I don't know any history about Coca-Cola other than it used to have cocaine in it. That's all I know. And New Coke sucked. I wouldn't think it would be...
A Coke Zero is pretty good.
Yeah. I wouldn't think it would be a fruit flavored, like a citrusy one, right? Whiskey?
Drink? I don't know.
You drink more than I do.
I don't even know what whiskey... What are you talking about?
Shoot. Okay. I'm going to say Coca-Cola. Oh,
You're going to be wrong.
I'm going to say Mr. Pibb then.
Oh,
Dang it.
Man.
Is it Mountain Dew? What?
Oh, my gosh.
Born in the hills of Tennessee in the 1940s, Mountain Dew was originally invented by 2 brothers, Barney and Allie Hartman, for use as a mixer with whiskey. Mountain Dew is actually slang for moonshine, and some of the early bottles are even adorned with sketches of a character called Willie the Hillbilly. Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't think that meant... I thought it was just a funny thing. This is your non-alcoholic moonshine.
Wow.
Mixer with whiskey. Whiskey and moonshine aren't the same thing at all. Moonshine is white lightning. It is rubbing alcohol, essentially. Okay.
Wow. Did you get 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the most I've ever gotten since the show started.
Oh my gracious.
All right,
I'm
your
gonna
turn.
be just as terrible, but until we find that out.
Until you
I'm
hit
gonna
7,
make you
yeah.
feel really
Okay.
bad.
What soft drink was the first product ever to appear on the cover of Time magazine? Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up?
I'm gonna say Coca-Cola.
Bing.
Yay!
Wow. May 15th, 1950, Coca-Cola became the first product ever to appear on the cover of Time magazine. The issue also featured an in-depth article about the Coca-Cola company. What year was the first bottled Coca-Cola sold? You always get the year questions. 1886, 1894, 1921, or 1955?
Well, I'm gonna go with 1886 because we learned that was when it was introduced, I believe, because it was like the next year. Because it was Dr. Pepper in 85.
No, not 1886.
Man, we'll go 1894. Okay.
1894, Joseph A. Beidenharn sold the first bottles of Coca-Cola. Previously, it had been sold as a fountain drink only. The first cans of Coke appeared in 1955.
Ooh.
What do the A and W in A&W root beer stand for? Anderson and West, Alabama and Wyoming, Allen and Wright, Albert and Wanda. It could be any of these.
I have no earthly idea what A&W means.
Oh my god.
An A&W root beer. I'm going to say Alabama and Wyoming. Just
Nope.
Anderson and West.
Nope.
Dang it. Allen and Wright. It cannot be.
Okay.
I was like, come on. Albert and Wanda.
Allen Wright, the two founders of the company. Roy Allen purchased a root beer formula from an Arizona pharmacist and sold his first mug of root beer in 1919. In 1922, he took a partner, Frank Wright, one of his original employees. 2 years later, in 1924, Allen bought Wright's share of the business back, but he stuck with the name, and the rest is history. By 1933, he had more than 170 franchised A&W outlets, and by 1950, he had more than 450 outlets nationwide.
Wow. How many X's do I have?
You only have 3.
Okay.
And you have 2 questions left.
Ooh, I might make it.
What was Pepsi Cola originally called? Yum Yum? Black Gold? Liquid Delight? Or Brad's Drink?
I have no idea.
All of these are equally stupid.
Is Yum Brands Coca-Cola? No.
But no, not Coca-Cola. This is Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi. That's what I meant.
I think.
Yum Brands.
I don't know if they're the same company, but Yum Brands is the company that owns like KFC, Taco Bell, all these companies that do exclusively with Pepsi. If that helps.
I'm gonna say it's for me. It's between Black Gold and Brad's Drink. So I'm gonna say Black Gold.
Not Black Gold.
Let's try Brad's Drink.
Dang it. I knew
All
that
right.
was what it was too. I was
What?
hoping you would think that was too stupid.
You're too.
When Caleb Bradman first created his own carbonated soft drink to serve fountain customers at his drugstore, he called the concoction Brad's Drink. On August 28th, 1898, Brad Emery named his invention Pepsi Cola. All right, you had 4. Last question. What was the first soft drink to be consumed in outer space?
Oh my gosh!
Was it Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, or Sprite?
Come on, it could be any of those.
It could be any of those.
Do you know the answer?
I really don't.
So if I only have 3 X's.
You have 3 X's. You'd have to get it all wrong.
All 3 of
To
them
tie
wrong
me.
To tie you.
Wait, you have 3 or 4? 1, 2, 3. Oh, you have
I
4.
have 4.
You have 4.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I need to
So
get.
if you got all 3 wrong, then I win.
So I can still lose.
You can still lose.
Okay. Let's go for Coca-Cola. America's favorite. Yeah!
Dang it! July 1985, Coca-Cola became the first soft drink consumed in outer space. It was enjoyed by astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger, who sipped the soda from a specially designed space can. I thought that's what they called the toilets up there.
I'm so excited that I finally won one. See, now I can be happier.
Now you can be happy.
Next time we go to play
Now
this
you'll be
game,
ready.
I'll be like,
Is this what it feels like to lose? It
Who-
sucks.
who
Man.
knows more about soda, Matthew? Me or you?
You do.
That's right.
It's clear.
You don't even
Yeah,
know
you
about
do.
your own favorite drink, Mountain Dew.
Well, that does it for our game. Let's take a trip back to 1994. And before we dive deep into the history of Wario Land, the game, let's share some nerdy facts about it.
Sure. The game was the first in the Wario series, which consists of 5 Wario Land sequels and several related titles. The game borrows some sound effects from Metroid 2, Return of Samus, another Game Boy game developed by the same team. borrowed some sound effects, huh? The game has multiple endings depending on how much treasure Wario collects through the game. The best ending involves Wario getting his own planet or moon. That's fun. That's fun.
So, before we dive deeper into the first game, let's take a look at Wario's first appearance. Wario first popped up in the gaming world with Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins.
Okay.
Which hit the Game Boy scene in 1992. So he's the big baddie that you have to beat. He's taken over Mario's turf out of sheer jealousy while Mario's off saving Princess Daly from an alien big shot named Tatanga, which was the first Super Mario Land game, while he was gone. Tatanga.
So not to be...
Not Topanga.
With Topanga.
Not Topanga. Tatanga.
Tatanga.
Wario's got this unique trick up his sleeve where he basically brainwashes most of Mario's buddies to turn against him, all in a bid to keep Mario from crashing his takeover party. He doesn't stop there. Wario goes and hides keys to his new castle, the 6 golden coins, all over the place, and even has the nerve to rename Mario's castle after himself. So when you finally get all the coins to open the door, you're met with perhaps one of the greatest obstacle course stages in platformer history. This is my opinion, but it's accurate.
But it's true.
Love it. When it comes down to the wire with Wario, it's a 3-part epic. First off, Wario's running and jumping around, making crystal balls drop from the ceiling. You have to hit him on the head 3 times. Then he runs to another room, munches on a carrot, and becomes Bunny Wario, where he starts to do this flutter jump thing across the screen, also knocking down lights as he goes. And then for the grand finale, in the final room, he snags a fire flower, turns into Fire Wario, shoots fireballs, hops around crazy, and you have to do that. You have to beat him 3 times, essentially, in a row, with just the one life that you have. Because if you die, you go all the way back to the beginning of the entire level.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's intense.
That's why I can't play games.
After you beat him, Wario shrinks into, just like Mario does when he gets hit. Mario shrinks into little kid Wario, tosses a shoe at Mario like a parting gift, and then books it out of there, all teary-eyed. With Wario out of the picture, the spell he had over the place lifts and everything, and Mario's castle goes back to normal. And so that takes us storyline-wise to the start of Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. So essentially, it just shifted here to being Wario's series. Super Mario Land did not come out with any more games. Wario took over.
Wow.
So after taking a hit in the last game, Wario is all fired up to snag a castle that puts Mario's to shame. Okay? So he heads over to Kitchen Island with a plan to lift the loot and coins stashed by the Brown Sugar Pirates. The top of his shopping list is a giant gold statue of Princess Peach that he is thinking of flipping to Mario for a pretty penny. Wario goes through the whole pirate crew, including their boss, Captain Syrup, and even a genie she calls up for backup. But just when he's about to celebrate, Mario swoops in a helicopter, snags the statue, and flies off, giving a little nod to Wario as he flies away. So stuck with the genie as his consolation prize, Wario makes a wish for his own castle. True to its word, the genie makes it happen, but cashes in all of Wario's hard-earned treasures and coins to cover the costs. So how swanky Wario's new digs ends up depends on how much coin he's left holding at the end of the quest. So he could end up with anything from a humble birdhouse to an actual nice castle to, like you said, his own planet.
His own planet.
Gameplay is different. So Wario has the ability to shoulder charge and shoot his enemies off into the distance, by bumping them and fly off, which is something, Mario famously doesn't do. Mario couldn't even punch, I think, until Super Mario 64, and even then I don't think that ability lasted through all the games. But he also has the ability to change his hats, which gives him different abilities. So he actually starts the game not wearing a classic cap like they tend to wear. He changes it out for it's kind of like a cross between a safari hat and a hard hat, like at a construction site. It's strange.
Okay.
It's a strange choice.
Okay.
There are other hats that you can get. You can get the bull helmet, which increases Wario's strength, doubles the length of his shoulder charge attack. You can go through 2 layers of blocks and whatnot. Also allows him to do the butt stomp thing, which is cool. Mm-hmm. You can get the jet helmet, which increases Wario's running speed and lets him fly in a purely horizontal manner for a short bit. Mm-hmm. And then you can also get the dragon helmet, which looks like a dragon's head that sits on top of him, and you can shoot a long thing of fire. So you have to have the different helmets to do the different things,
right. Mm-hmm.
Get to different areas. Mm-hmm. The let's see. So this was the first game that I ever 100%ed.
Oh, really?
The amount of treasure hidden is insane. It's like an insane giant closet full of spaces you have to fill up.
Wow.
And that's where you get most of your money to get your castle at the end of the game.
Right.
So I remember this was the game that I would take with me on every road trip. So I had the little magnifier light thing that I'd play in the dark. I'd have it with me when we were sitting in restaurants as a kid, just everywhere I had it. I was playing it for a long time. I want to say I played this for a solid year without taking a break or playing anything else.
Really?
And, I had no YouTube walkthroughs. They didn't have a player's guide for this game that I'm aware of. This was literally just me grinding and grinding until I found everything. The game was very popular. It was so popular that it did begin a series. But the next game was a flop because the whole system that it was on was a flop. And that was the Virtual Boy Wario Land. Oh. A platformer on the Virtual. You remember what the Virtual Boy was? It was this little red headset thing that you leaned into and you had a controller.
Yes.
And it was just all red lines that you're trying to play. I mean, I played it a little bit at a Blockbuster, and that was the game that it launched with. Mm-hmm. Had potential to be a good game on anything else.
Right.
But it hurt you. Like, killed your eyes. It was terrible. But Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color came out. And this game utilized similar gameplay, but changed up 3 key things that kind of became standard for the Wario Land series moving forward. First of all, Wario could not die anymore.
Oh.
So instead, it was more puzzle focused. And so instead of being killed by enemies, enemies simply impeded his progress. Instead of hat swapping, he could get certain powers by being attacked by certain enemies. So sometimes there'd be like blocks that needed to be burned to go away. Mm-hmm. And so somewhere in that level, there will be a character that shoots fire, and you need to get hit by that character so you can then time your run, because at first you're just like your butt's on fire and you're running in a panic, but then eventually your whole body gets engulfed in flames, and when you're like that, you will just fall through those blocks. And so it's all about timing, because you're going to have to run from wherever you are. You got to make sure you're right where you need to be when you get all engulfed in flames, because once you're like that, you can't jump. So you can't get into like another level if you're just 1 block down or something. Same things with like zombies and bats and all these different kind of things. Something like flattens you, so you can just like walk as this tiny little pancake to get through small little areas.
Right.
Like all this stuff, it's really... It's counterintuitive to what we're used to with games, where we're trying to avoid getting hit by enemies. Right. But in this case, you need to get hit by a lot of enemies.
You need to get hit by this guy so you can...
And then lastly, there's no more time limit. So the player can spend as much time as they want searching for treasure in the maps. Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color followed the same formula and might be the best reviewed game of the whole series. Wario Land 4 was also reviewed very highly, which came out for the Game Boy Advance. And all 4 of those games get big ticks because the games were massive. The replayability is unrivaled by almost any Mario-themed game. And that's largely due to the treasure hunting.
Yeah, I could see that.
Often, a lot of these treasures can't be unlocked until you've beaten the game and you have unlocked different abilities at different places. And so, like, you can just keep playing, keep grinding, but it's still fun. It's not grinding for grinding's sake,
Right.
like a lot of games do, just to lengthen the game. Like this was a treasure hunt, and that's what it felt like.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It was really cool when you finally discovered, oh, it was hidden here the whole time.
And is it always treasure that he's like searching for?
Yeah,
No.
but it's always like a piece of treasure, so it's like different shaped things or like,
So you have to.
and they sometimes had like a little bit of lore about what it was and something like that. But yeah, they were all different things. It wasn't just like the blue egg, the red egg, some are like gems or whatever. It was like an axe, a helmet, a statue,
That's cool.
all these different things.
That's cool.
And the fact that these games were so massive made them so popular. That was one reason that his jump to the GameCube didn't pan out so well. While it was received well as a fun game, this 3D platformer, Wario World, wasn't Mario quality, and it was incredibly short. The Wario platformers never really recovered. Wario Master of Disguise came out for the Nintendo DS. While it looked like a return to form, it wasn't well received. Wario Land Shake It came out on the Wii, and it was better received than Wario World, but the constant need to shake the Wiimote was tedious and repetitive. Like everything that you needed to do, you needed to shake
had
the
to
stupid
shake
Wiimote for. And the game was also, again, quite short.
Wow.
So luckily, Wario has a whole nother set of games. Wario Ware.
yes.
Wario, always looking for a quick buck, decides to start making micro video games. Started on the Game Boy Advance and GameCube, but has made a new game in the series with like each new console, sometimes more than one, with each game typically focusing on a new gimmick for the console itself. WarioWare Twisted came out on the Game Boy Advance next, and that came with like a rotation sensor in the cartridge. Do you remember that one? I owned that one when we were in college. So it's like it's the cartridge stuck out a little bit from the Game Boy, or we had it on the DS. But like it had a rotation sensor, so all the mini games you're having to twist it around.
I do remember.
Similar
that,
to how
yeah.
the Wiimote eventually would work. WarioWare Touch, which is one that we both had. We both had our own copy on the Nintendo DS that utilized the stylus and the bottom touchscreen. That was really fun.
That was like one of my favorites.
It's probably my favorite
I'm
WarioWare.
like I get so angered at games.
What?
I have to find the right game for me and my attitude. And that was one of them.
That was a pretty good one, yeah. WarioWare Smooth Moves came after that, which we also owned, and that was for the Wii. And that was a dancing-centric game used with the Wiimote. Do you remember playing that one?
Yes.
Yeah,
You had
this
like
was different
do
things.
different
You had to hold it a different
poses
way.
and- yes.
Pump, jump, all those kind of things.
I liked it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
WarioWare Snapped was on the DSi Ware. It was a small release, just like I think 20 mini games, it was one of the first downloadable games from Nintendo for the Nintendo DSi. WarioWare DIY came out as a release with the DSi XL, allowing us to make our own mini games. Then came Game & Wario for the Wii U, WarioWare Gold for the 3DS, WarioWare Get It Together, and even recently, last November, WarioWare Move It. Those last two both for the Switch. Move It is actually the first game to repeat a gimmick, as it is a direct sequel to the Wii's Smooth Moves. It is once again a dance-centric WarioWare game for the Switch.
Okay.
Let's see. He's also had a few puzzle games like Wario's Woods, which looks similar to Dr. Mario style kind of game. And then Mario and Wario, which was an exclusive in Japan, which is a puzzle-based game that I have no idea anything about. And of course, he's been featured as a character in all the big party games, starting in the Nintendo 64 era, such as Mario Kart, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, Super Smash Brothers, on and on. Mm-hmm. But the big question is, why? Why is he? Why was Wario created?
Why does he exist?
So basically, when creating the first game, the game that we're celebrating today, Wario Land, I take that back. The first game
With Wario.
Super Mario Land 2, when he's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. When creating that game, the team wanted a change of pace. So instead of having Mario chasing a big bad who'd kidnapped a princess, like had been the premise for all of his other games, they wanted a villain whose only driving force was greed, and for Mario to have to fight to win back something that was his own. So Wario is a fun twist on Mario, but it's also the word Wario is a fun twist on Mario, but it's also derived from the Japanese word warui, meaning bad. So, bad Mario. Wario's relationship to Mario was inspired by the American comic book characters Popeye and Bluto. Remember Popeye?
I remember Popeye.
Bluto's the big hulking guy with the big black beard.
Okay.
Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bluto, physically well built, motivated by his self-interest, and more cunning than his counterpart Popeye. But are they related? Mario and Wario. We know Mario and Luigi are brothers. Where does Wario fit in? Is he a creepy uncle? No. Despite schoolhouse rumors of them being cousins, they were actually just childhood rivals. That's the story. There was like an actual story.
So it's like if I had been young and met a Deidre. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We would have been rivals.
You would have been rivals.
Yes.
Or Annie and Asian Annie in Community. You know who else isn't related to Wario? Waluigi.
Really?
In fact, Waluigi's history is a bit conflicting. Nintendo Power, famous Nintendo magazine that ran for several years, once revealed that Waluigi was just a creep Wario hired to play tennis with him. Wario hired Jimmy Papadopoulos to act like his duo partner and be a foil for Luigi. Jimmy eventually legally changed his name and committed to the character. Others say that all that backstory is fake and Waluigi is just Wario's friend. But at the very least, Wario did enlist Waluigi for help. Either way, they are not related.
Okay. Good to know.
Frankly, the need for Mario characters to be doubled up for games like Mario Tennis and Mario Kart Double Dash is the only reason Waluigi exists.
Poor guy.
I can't confirm this, but I'm pretty sure that's why Toadette was created and why Birdo is still hanging around.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Other questions people have about Wario. Is he Italian?
I guess not.
Kinda. Originally, he was likely German. Wario's original voice actor was German translator Thomas Spindler, and his line that sounds like, "Oh, I missed," is actually, "So I missed," which is German for, "Oh, crap." On brand for Wario. Spindler said Wario was always envisioned to be German. However, eventually Charles Martinet, the voice actor behind Mario for decades up until this last year, took over, giving Wario a thicker Italian accent than even Mario had. So now he's regarded as Italian and extra Italian.
Extra.
Last question. Does Wario have IBS?
What?
Irritable bowel syndrome? I mean,
because of all the tooth.
Given the amount of gas humor in WarioWare and Super Smash Brothers, you'd think it'd have to be something like that. But there's no lore to account for this. The only thing we know is that Wario can fart on demand and has thus weaponized those farts.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now that we've taken a look back at most of Wario's history, we had a fun Would You Rather poll for you guys.
Okay.
We asked the LTN Facebook community, would you rather kiss Wario after his dinner of 9 garlic cloves and nothing else? Or be at the receiving end of a full power Wario waft, a fart attack from Smash Brothers.
Man.
Yeah. So Wario's love of garlic is heavily established in the WarioWare games.
Okay.
In fact, if he eats enough garlic, he becomes Wario Man, the weird superhero who has like a purple leotard covered in garlic bulbs and powers are fart and burp related, I believe.
All right.
But
of course.
in Smash Brothers, especially in the most recent Smash Brothers, he has the Wario Waft, which the longer you take to utilize it, the bigger the explosion is.
Oh my gosh.
Like if you use it like right away, it's just a little poof, and it doesn't do hardly any damage. But if you hold out, you clench those cheeks for a while, it like the animation for it is terrible. And there's a GIF I posted of it because somebody said their kid said that they'll just hold their breath, so they'll do that one. I'm like, I don't think you understand. It's a picture of Wario's butt. It's swooping around to Wario's butt, and right where on his pants, but right where the opening would be, it like starts lighting up with fire and spindles out and then explodes. It's this massive explosion. Like, do you remember Super Mario's power up thing where he just like punches and it's just like this big fireball, blah, 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 blah. That's essentially what happens with Wario.
It's his butt cheeks.
It's a fart. So those are the two things that we have here.
Wow.
What do you think most people chose?
Well, I would say they probably chose the kiss, right? Over the toot.
75% chose fart attack.
Wow.
The Wario waft. Instead of just a garlicky kiss from a mustachioed Italian.
Wow.
Yeah. How badly do you not want to kiss Wario?
Right? Right.
What's your answer?
I don't know.
Well, you're sitting right across from your husband, so I would hope you wouldn't kiss somebody.
But if it's to not receive this fart, that's going to,
I feel like you
kill me.
And it won't kill you.
I mean,
You don't die. You might want to die.
right.
But I think that's,
I drove today.
Not
through
too
some
much.
Pretty stinky towns. So I'm like over bad smells right now.
Oh, man.
Let me make this more awkward. So what do you think of Wario? What was your favorite Wario game? We want to know. Tell us on the socials at Nerd History LTN.
Subscribe to the Nerd History Podcast via the Love Thy Nerd YouTube channel or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Find us on lovethynerd.com/nerdhistorypod.
And we also have our Daily Today in Nerd History short and article that comes out every day at lovethynerd.com/nerdhistory with photos and nerdy facts.
Oh, goodness gracious.
What is it?
Did you hear that? That means it's time to take a look into the nerd future. What is the future of Wario? It's safe to assume that he'll remain in all of the Mario multiplayer games and WarioWare. Because even when WarioWare games are bad, they're still pretty good.
Right.
Right? Because I mean, it's like 150 to 200 mini games.
Right.
Even
fun.
if 50% of them are bad, 50% of them are still great. And they're all 3 seconds long.
Right.
You'll deal with the bad ones for the great ones.
Right.
More Nintendo-based mini games. Those ones are always my favorite. The ones that are like using old other like NES games or whatever, and you're having so much fun. But will we see the return of Wario platformers? Wario World had potential for the GameCube. Mm-hmm. Seeing a remake for the Switch with Switch 2 could make it land much better. Mm-hmm. They redo it. I mean, they just did it with Super Mario RPG, a classic game from the Nintendo 64. They completely revitalized it. They could do the same thing for this, even have the opportunity to like double it in length, make it a big deal.
That's the one that it was too short, right?
Yeah. Both the platformers, both for like the big consoles, were too short. But with the last decade or so, we've seen a huge return to side-scrolling Mario games. From New Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario Maker to Super Mario Wonder that just came out. Big deal. This seems like the perfect time for Wario Land as a side-scrolling platformer to make the jump to the next console, to Switch 2. A long, replayable puzzle platformer with tons of hidden treasures to find. Those first 4 Wario games were some of the best games on their handheld consoles. Like, I'm pretty sure Wario Land, it was either Wario Land 2 or 3, but it was like the 10th best-selling game on the Game Boy. And there were hundreds of games on that Game Boy.
Right.
Because the Game Boy, the basic Game Boy, all the way up through the Game Boy Color, like that was all the Game Boy Color could play all the other games too.
Right.
Like that was Game Boy. It was Game Boy Pocket. It was Game Boy Color. After that, it was a long time, long run.
Lots of fun.
And so that's a big accolade. I think it's time to revitalize the series, but if nothing else, bring more of the original games to the Switch Online system.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Currently, we have Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, where Wario is the villain, his first appearance. And Wario Land 3 is on there, which I think is the best of the best received of the 4. But why not Wario Land 1? The one that we're celebrating today. Why is that not on there? That was the big game that started it all. Why not Wario Land 2? Why not 4 on the Game Boy Advance emulator? Like, none of those are on there. I'm actually very disappointed at how few Game Boy games on either the Game Boy one or the Game Boy Advance one are there. Because like I said, there were hundreds.
Right.
And so many of them were Nintendo IPs. Why are they not? The original Super Mario Land isn't on there. And that was, I mean, it was short and it was weird, small and pixelated before they could figure out how to really do the animation, but it was fun.
Right.
It was a classic. I enjoyed it.
Right.
I'm sad. I'm sad that we don't have more stuff. So besides a weak rumor for a game called Wario Land The Fart Button, which Nintendo would never release a game with that name, there are no solid clues that Wario is getting any platformer in the near future.
Wow.
And that is a shame.
That's crazy.
I often think, when I think of Wario, and I don't know why this is still the case, but I often think of him as being a newer character. And I don't really realize,
how long?
Remind myself that that's in 30 years.
Right.
It was actually 32 years when he first appeared in that first game. Like, he's been around. I mean, he's no Donkey Kong, he's no Bowser, but he's nearly.
Right.
He's less than a decade behind them, or at least Bowser. So, like, he deserves it. He deserves more.
Give him some
stuff.
more stuff.
Stop just pairing him with Waluigi for garbage crap on these party games. And utilize your character beyond the minigame stuff. People love him. People love him. And with that, show's over. We'll be back next week to tackle perhaps our favorite show of all time. If you thought any of our episodes have been long, this one will probably be the longest because Daedra will talk a whole lot more than I will. I'm sure.
I will talk a lot.
Once again, I'm Radio Matt.
And I'm Daedra.
And remember, in the past, present, and future,
Jesus loves you, nerds.